Hello everyone. I am here to talk about images. I'm going to do a little flip through and a magazine harvest just to let you see some of my process and to talk about the publications that I use. I'm always asked, what's your favorite magazine? My answer is the free magazines. And what I mean by that is magazines that you don't pay for. Magazines, let me get this out of the way. Magazines, publications that are for advertising that you can pick up in many different places. So I have a few here. Let me put this aside for just a second. What I'm talking about are publications that are paid for by advertisers, publications that you find in tourist information centers. They are trying to get you to come to their businesses, to their restaurants, to spend money with them. They make their advertising really pretty, really nice, and there's always something very interesting to find in them. This is what I mean by a free magazine, things that you pick up that you do not pay for. I do not go into a store and buy magazines. I just don't do it. Number one, you don't really find a whole lot of images in a single magazine. I'm cheap, guys. I am really cheap. Aunt Sandra would say I'm frugal. I'm frugal. I do not spend money on magazines. I really enjoy publications that I can pick up for no money that are based in advertising and are there to grab your attention. This one is the Lakelander, and it is a health and beauty. I found this in front of a beauty salon, I think. It was just there for the taking, and I'm going to get back to that one because I did a little experiment with it, and I'm going to show you what's going on there. Here's another one. This is the Cultural Arts Magazine for Polk County. It advertises zoos, museums, events that are going to happen. Here's the orchestra. It talks about the new children's museum here. Craft shows. Look at that image. This one is for theater. This is for the Broadway series My Fair Lady. And isn't that gorgeous? Perfect, wonderful image just right there. And these publications don't always have a lot of stuff in them. Here's a nice little portrait, a house. If you're looking for words, they've got a few. You're not paying for them. You're looking at all the advertising, so it is serving its purpose. You're getting familiar with the events that are going on. And so they're fair game after you've flipped through the magazine. Here's a Central Florida travel guide. I find all kinds of these kinds of publications in the tourist information centers in any town or city. Small towns have them too. Small towns, Lakeland isn't that big. It's a little bit bigger than a small town. They have a tourist information center, and it includes cities nearby, Tampa, Orlando, St. Pete, the larger cities. They will include publications for events and zoos and things that are going on in those cities. So if you go to your information, your tourist information centers, They have all kinds of things that you can pick up so that you know what's in the area. This one is a gardens. It's a tower that was built in the 20s, I believe. And now it's gardens. It's really a cool place. So they want you to know what's going on. These are paid for usually by restaurants and local businesses. And so the illustrations and the things that you're going to find in here are meant to catch your attention. They're meant to catch your eye. They are cool images all by themselves. I mean, I can go through here and find all kinds of stuff. Here's a cool little swan. That's what they're there for. They're there to be pretty. This one is, what is this one? This is Polk State College. It's actually in Spanish. So there's some Spanish text, hot air balloon. It's about the college here and what kind of classes you can take, airplanes and things like that. All kinds of stuff, and I'll go through all that. This one is kind of a newspaper type. It's huge. Health news for Central Florida. And again, I go through them, and here's a bunch of heads that are kind of cool. And look at the advertising, the logos, cute little heart, the color. I don't find a whole lot in these, but one or two images in each one that you find. Here's a cool moon that adds up. Nuts. Here's a cool looking pizza. I love the colors of that. A plate of French toast. Some interesting recipes to try. So the trick about this is not what my favorite magazine is. It's you get a whole lot of publications. A lot of publications. I do travel at Thanksgiving, and I stop at the borders of the states. They have huge welcome centers for each state, showing what's in the state and the counties and the cities, all full of advertising. Here's Kentucky, Chattanooga, waterfalls, and all kinds of interesting things. Tennessee, aquarium. These are all free publications. And they've got a ton of things that you can use in these publications. Tons. So it's a matter of, look at this giraffe, of training your eye to go through something like this and take things out of the page that you can use someplace else. Training your eye to spot the images that can be used, that you'll like. It's all about finding funny things. You might not see it on the page, but here's a bear. Take things off the page. So when I say my favorite magazines are free, it's these kinds of publications that I enjoy the most. When you go to the tourist information centers, they also have the little brochures that have really cool things on them as well. Zoos and museums. Oh, look at this little hedgehog. Aquariums. Look at that albino alligator. She's feeding flamingos. Look at this giant tortoise. Birds. I mean, this is just a brochure for an animal experiences in Sarasota. Sarasota Jungle Gardens. Just a little pamphlet with a manatee on it. I just love the manatee. Look at this. Giraffe Ranch. No idea where that is. Where's the Giraffe Ranch? Safari. There's got to be an address here somewhere. Dade City. Look at that giraffe. There's a bunch of them. Cheetah. A rhino. There's another giraffe. Camel. Look at all those images just on this one little brochure. North Carolina with a polar bear. An ark encounter. That's in Kentucky. Look at all the images in that one. And another place, just as a reference here, catalogs. This one's Oriental Trading. This is a seasonal one. This one was around Christmas. They're selling stuff. They're going to make those items look really cool. And here's Easter. This one must have been last year's. Eggs, baskets, bunnies, toys, all kinds of stuff. They make the images interesting enough to catch your attention. Here's Oriental Trading Crafts for the kids. I've had this one for a long time. Just all kinds of crafts. Good ideas. Things to buy for the kids. It's summertime. All kinds of things. Fish. I mean, these are catalogs that I get in the mail. You get on the mailing list and they will just keep sending them to you even if you don't buy anything. There's quite a few catalogs out there that will send you, and those are recent. I've got those since the pandemic. So they do send out catalogs now. So here is the Lakelander. I did a little experiment with this magazine, this publication, with the girls at the get-together here. And the experiment was, we have 15 minutes. Let's go through the magazine, the publication, and let's see how much stuff we can pull out of one of these publications. All right? That was the whole experiment. Here is the pile of stuff that I pulled out of one publication that really, if you look at it, if we look at it, does not have a whole lot going on. Let's be honest. This is a pretty boring publication. Look at this. If you take a quick look at it, there's not a whole lot here to really... You're not seeing anything, right? It's pretty boring. Have we seen any images that we could really use so far? Not really, right? We get into this one. Here's the first image that would catch you right away. So I would say that this publication probably has one image in it that I would use. But when all was said and done, after 15 minutes, I found all of this stuff in this magazine. Here is that pretty obvious one. All of this came out of that magazine. You'll find all of these images somewhere. Color bits, words, numbers, people, weird images, glue book images, things that you can fussy cut, tiny little logos. So let's just go through this real slowly and let me show you what you can find. All right? Here we have some cool fireworks, a vase, some pillows. That's just a cool little spot there all by itself. You want to look at what I do when I'm going through a magazine is I go through it once really fast just to see, if there's anything that really is something that I want. And of course that one butterfly is definitely the focal point of the whole magazine for me. That butterfly, and the hand is kind of cool too. So they're large. I would take that whole page out, which I did. There's nothing on the back of it that really is interesting at all. So those are two images that I would like a whole lot. Here's the cover. And this light bulb is kind of interesting as well. I didn't see that one right away. One of the other girls did. All right. So let's just go through and see what we can see. What I do is I start going through and I take out the obvious things first. And here's a nice page. I like this girl sitting here. She could be a very interesting piece of a collage. And all three of them, or all four of them really, could be really interesting. Let me see what's on the other side. Nothing. I like this side better. So I would probably take that whole page out and decide what to do with it later. I like this little fence here. It's a nice little background for something to put on top of it. I usually go through and find the larger things first. I kind of go slowly so that I can let my eyes see everything. I don't know, this weird little face here kind of caught my eye. It's on his t-shirt. I don't know what they're advertising there, but that's a nice little detail. I kind of like that. I like the weird, kooky little things. So I would probably take that out so I don't miss it again. Here's a house. Little tiny, I did cut that out. As I like windows, I probably won't be able to find it in here anywhere. I like windows, and so that little bit right there is a cool little addition for any collage. I like to look at, here's some numbers. Numbers. This is a moth coming out. Here's some more numbers. Look at this little image. You kind of miss it with all the rest of the writing and stuff. But look how kind of cool it is when you get it covered up. When you take away all that other stuff. It's a nice little image. You can do a lot with that. It could be in the background or whatever. Here's a peach. I'm not sure what kind of nut that is. I liked this little cup with the lemon in it. So I would fussy cut that out. That would be pretty easy to cut out. There's nothing on the other side. I like to look at the little details of the pictures and see if there's any logos that are interesting, any little tiny pictures. Here's a wonderful figure. She's good alone, or you can put a funny little head on her, a clock, or an animal head to add her to your collage. Here's some golf people. Kind of cute. I'm looking for words. Here's an interesting figure here. He could be throwing up, if you put an elephant there or something. He looks like he's doing something. Just make it a little odd. So he's an interesting figure to use. Let's see here. Here's a museum. Healthy living includes trips to the museum. So this is an article all about museums and going to see museums. Well, that's really a cool little bit of image right there. This family looking at the portraits. This little portrait right here all by itself. Oh, see, there's the family. This portrait is a cool little detail to add to something. Moving on, here's a mascot. He's kind of cool looking. A basketball, just a hand maybe in something coming out of a cup or whatever. Little details are really fun. That would be a cool background. Here's one. I like these cityscapes. Just take it out of the page so you can see it. Look how pretty that is. I just love the colors. It would be great for a background or a glue page, a glue book page. You can cut it up into two separate if it's too large. The color is beautiful. It can be used in so many different ways. But we tend to miss something like that because everything else is trying to get your attention as well. So go through your magazine slowly. This lady with the watermelon balloons is kind of cool. Here is a heart made of jewelry. I like these little, I don't like, anxiety, depression, fatigue and stress and all those, but the little pictures would be fun. A little man falling, put him on top of a large egg and he's falling off the egg or something. Think outside the box a little bit. There's an interesting figure. She's doing something that you can change. I like this figure as well. It doesn't matter that her head is missing parts. You can put a different head on her. I like the fact that her fingers are against her body, so she would be very easy to cut out, fussy cut out. She is missing part of her arm, but you can situate her on a page to disguise that. You can put something up in front of her or something on the spine or the end of the page. Here's some more numbers. Here's a cool little glue book page or glue book image. Here's another interesting figure. She could be looking down at a little mini elephant. I like to play with scale. That's a cool image. And that's a cool image right there too. So I usually go through once and take out things that catch my eye that I see right away. So all those framed images I would like. And I go through and I see color bits too. I use a bit of color items, things like that, just for bits of color in the background. Here is that bit right there. I do glue books that are focused around color combinations and texture, so those kinds of things work well in there. They work well in backgrounds. This is a great circle. I like the color of that. Here's a cute little guy. You could use him just as a head, or you can use him as a whole figure there. Very interesting. A leaf. Here's a color bit. More color. And some really cool reds and purples. Here's that other one that I showed you already. Here's a circle, blue and green. The event would be cool for words. Little glasses. Here's a champagne bottle. Nice for details. This is a really weird image. I'm not sure what exactly it is. I enjoy unique things like this, so I would save that. I'm not sure exactly where I would put it. I might change the face a little bit so it's not so scary. Here is another bit of color. If you put it upside down, you wouldn't know exactly what it is. If you're doing Glue Book January 2023, the scavenger hunt that I put out, this is a shadow. So that's what I do. I go through the magazine once, and I love the Gecko guy. This one is really easy to cut out because his arms are tucked in, and he is really funny to look at when he's peeking out from behind all kinds of stuff. And here's another couple that's real cool. A little coffee cup that's really nice for detail. So I'll go through once. Look at her with the balloons. Here's another figure, all in blue, so she's kind of interesting. Here's something, he's falling, an interesting something to use somewhere. I don't have something in mind to use my images with as I'm going through the magazines, the publications. I just go through and collect things. Here's a buffalo with a tree. It's a logo. And then when I get to the end and I've torn out pages and bits, I can go through backwards and take a look at what's left over. I find a lot of stuff. 2 Men in a Truck. This is a logo that's really fun to use in all kinds of places. I didn't see it the first time. Here's a kitty. Here's a clock. When you get the bigger things out of the way so that you're not seeing those, other things suddenly appear that you didn't see the first time. Another thing that I find is if I go through a magazine front to back and then back to front again, I'll put it aside and wait a few days, be in a different mood, and go through the same thing and still find stuff. The trick is to train your eye to see the details. How about this little flower here? See the details. See the words, see the numbers, see the little miniature logos, and find this stuff. Don't pay for magazines unless you really want that magazine. Chances are you're only going to find about 5 good images in any magazine. It's going to be really expensive if you're going and paying for these magazines. So I hope this is helpful. So that's the magazine. You can see where I have collected a bunch of those images, and they look different when they are separated out. Here's a bit of color. Here's another one of the moth coming out of its cocoon. I like her. I think she's cool. That's cool. That could be used in anything. This is definitely a weird little image, but, you know, gather now and maybe something will appear that you really want to use it in. I noticed all of those images in this magazine. Color bit, watermelon balloons. Here's the couple. Here's the page with the kids. I cut her out and then decided I was going to use all of that page. Here's that heart of jewelry, that figure. The fireworks with the couch there, that little bit of fence. I love these for backgrounds. Here's the little girl, the girl that I cut out. Here's that logo guy or the mascot guy. He's interesting. He could be, you know, in something interesting. The framed pictures, the family looking at the in the museum. Here's a mom and child. The dog, that weird little figure, the peach, the color bit. Here's some pillows. I need this for my scavenger hunt. The shadows, the little person playing the piano there. Here's the windows from that house. And the people playing tennis. Here's a hand. I had taken the guy, and what was left was this hand. It's interesting. And here's that funny little face. Don't know exactly what I'm going to use that with. A chair. Here's the champagne and the glasses. A couple more of those moth images. The little bits of the head and the person falling. They'd be funny in, you know, different context, I suppose. Here's the golf people. And here's that image. They were on the same page for the museum. People playing cards. Here's that cup with the lemon. Another couch with a pillow. I found this image also a little interesting. A dance class. That was in there somewhere. Here's the gecko. Love gecko. I always, whenever I come across gecko, I save him. Here is a tomato, a shelf with some bottles. Here's that coffee cup. There was a little picture of this face, a building, some kind of logo, a palm tree logo. There was a little bee somewhere in there. I didn't spot him on this time, but there is a little bee there somewhere. Here is a little cat that was sitting on the table on those near the couches. A couple words: distinctive, ignite, okay. Here's that circle and some numbers. I found quite a bit of stuff in that magazine, that publication, that I didn't pay anything for. My favorite magazine is the ones that I don't pay for, the advertising ones. They've got great images that catch your eye. They can be used in so many different ways. They're fun to use. They cost no money, which is my favorite part of it. So that is it in a nutshell, okay? What you want to do is gather many publications, because you're not going to find a ton of stuff in any single publication. This collection that I have has taken me years to collect. Years, as I go through a lot of images. Years. You can't do this in just a couple days. You can't do this with just one single publication. It takes a lot of different magazines, different publications to get a collection that you can use. So that is my suggestion. Go out to your local information center. Most towns have one. It's a big industry. People want you to come to their businesses. Zoos and museums, they want you to come, and cities, they want you to come and spend money in their city. So they are putting out publications advertising what you can see, what you can do, where you can eat, all that kind of stuff. And take advantage of it. So that is my little bit there. Go out, find images. And just one last item. You might not like all the images in your publication. Save them anyway. Put them in. The things that you don't like, don't use in your stuff. If you don't like the image in the magazine, you're not going to like the image when it's in your glue book or your art journal. But you can put it in an envelope and trade it or give it to somebody else who might like that image. And they will do the same, and maybe they have some stuff in their little stash that they don't want that you would love. So save everything. Put aside things that you don't like, that you don't want to use, and trade them for things that you will like. All right? So go out. Go in search of. Go find. Have fun. It's a great way to spend some time. Treasure hunting is what I call it. It's an adventure. What am I going to find in this magazine? Searching, searching, searching. It's kind of like digging for treasure. Take a look. Take your time. Take a look at each page and see all the little details. Get a window so that you can block out words and you can see what really is on there. If you're looking for color bits, turn the magazine upside down so that you're not reading the words, so that you can just see images. Lots of tricks there. You're going to have a lot of images to work with when you do this. Good luck, everybody. Happy treasure hunting. Thanks for watching.